I did a poll on YouTube and 450 people voted. And guess how many people are unemployed?
20%?
No, it's actually 30. So let's go and actually read what the poll asked for. So, are you currently unemployed and look for full-time work? And 30% from 454 people said yes. So they're actually looking for full-time work.
I'm
30%.
not surprised. I feel like the whole world is either at risk of getting laid off, just got laid off, or has been unemployed for a while looking for work.
So what do you recommend for these people that are about to, because I always tell people, oh, get your resume ready. But what do you think if you're like, hey, I got a secure job? What do you say to these people that say, I got a secure job, not in my industry?
So you need to be networking right now. If you think your job is safe and you're comfortable, you're not. Newsflash, you should be networking. You should be stoking the fire of your network so that the coals do not grow cold. Because if you get laid off or if you want a job search someday and you need to get the fire going again of your network, which is the best way to find a job these days, it's going to take you months. But if you're already caught up with these people, then it'll be easier for you to tap into your network and pick the fruit from the trees that you planted long ago.
So how long do you think it would take to get another job? Six-figure salary, how long?
Well, we're seeing data that says it depends on how old you are. Remember that?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and I hate that this is how it is, but the younger you are, the shorter it takes. The older you are, the more seasoned you are, we'll call it that, the more money they have to pay you, the more niche your expertise is in, most likely. And maybe you're in more of a leadership and management position, so the interview process takes longer because they need to vet you out. So I would give it 6 months. I know. And I used to say 3 months. It used to take like 90 days and just a nice resume to get a job. But now it takes a lot more than that and a lot longer than that.
Let me know how long you've been job searching down below in the comments section. And please like and subscribe. I'm also on Spotify. I'm also on LinkedIn. If you haven't, please follow me and Ali on LinkedIn. I have it shown on the screen now. But yeah, it's absolutely crazy when you think about all these people that are, 30%. So the data isn't that scientific because you're like, hey, you can, for a, in order to have a great sample size, you need to give it to a diverse people and do all that. But then these are people on YouTube, and I don't know how YouTube found these people, right? So is it people that are just in my field, that are interested in that, and so the statistics are higher? Or is it just people on YouTube that actually voted? They say, no, my audience is like most Americans.
Right.
Morning.
Morning. Yeah, I have the same thing with my social media. I help ambitious job seekers land roles they love.
Yeah.
And so most of my following is frustrated job seekers also. So I like that you're talking about being unbiased with statistics, but there's not a whole lot we can do about that because we are attracting people that are looking for work.
But also it is that, as we know with the government, and I had another video, that, the only statistics you can believe is the one that you falsify yourself. So, yeah, I think it's somewhere probably about 20%. I think the unemployment rate is probably about 20%.
I really believe that. And they're saying that it's only 3.8 or 4%. But from my experience in getting laid off in 2023 and getting a severance and applying for unemployment and not being eligible until my severance ran out 6 months later, I think the unemployment rate's way bigger because a lot of these tech companies are doing layoffs and giving severance. So I think the unemployment rate's more closer to 8%.
8? Yeah,
At least.
so 8% was during 2008. It was like 9%. So the dark number was probably a little bit higher than that. And I'm just looking at, these poor people. I just had a comment saying today, at this point, I'm just trying to hold on.
Oh.
And when people like that tell me like, hey, at this point, I'm just trying to hold on, I'm always like, man, what do you do? So what can you do to increase your chances?
If you're who?
If you're trying to get a job and you just can't find it.
Okay, you need to get creative with how you can stand out. So it used to be the case that a college degree would get you a great job. That's not the case anymore. Then it became, okay, a great resume and a cover letter would get you a job. Now that's not the case. Now you need a resume, a cover letter, You need to be networking with at least 2 or 3 people at that company after you apply. And you need to have something else like a project portfolio. I've also heard it called a PPD, a personal proof document, something where you show that you can do the work you're saying you can do on your resume. Anything to stand you apart from all of the other applicants. Because I've heard that there's like a crazy amount of number of applicants applying for every job. And so if everybody's resume is a one-page white paper document with black text, you need some way to stand out.
Okay. So you're saying that they should do project portfolios and all that kind of stuff, right?
That's just an example. Another example, somebody that I'm working with in Career Catalyst, and by the way, that's what I do. I help people stand out in their job search so that they get interviews and they get job offers. I'm also helping somebody who just applied for a marketing position. I helped them write a one-page marketing proposal for the company in Canva using the company's logo and brand colors on the document. I bet you anything that person's going to get an interview.
At least a phone screen, right?
At least a phone screen. Yeah. Give them a reason why they're seeing you go the extra mile and they're thinking, oh, they're going to go the extra mile at work for us. We got to interview them.
So let me ask you something. So I had a lot of people complain to me that says that these job listings are fake. So somebody said, so there was an article out and that was from like 1,000 people got interviewed, 1,000 hiring managers, and they said 4 out of 10 are fake job listings. And people said, yes, 4 are fake, 2 of them are scams, and then there's 1 of them that's been old, outdated, and then there's 3 left, and for these 3, everybody else also applies, so there's thousands of applications.
Yeah, so what's your question? How do you identify a ghost posting?
Yeah, so what do you do with that? If I come to you and I said, like, what do you do about that?
So, in my opinion, and from some of the data that I'm seeing and some of my friends who are in hiring and recruiting, some companies want to look like they're doing well and they're growing. And so if you go on their website and look at their careers page, they're hiring. They have open positions and you can apply. And you may never hear back. And guess what? Nobody may ever hear back who's applied for those jobs because maybe they're not interviewing. Maybe they're not really hiring, but they want to look like they're hiring. Because no company wants to openly admit they have a hiring freeze, which is when a company is just not hiring, not growing, trying to hold on like some of us are. And so it's tricky to try to identify those. But what I like to do is I like to look on LinkedIn and see if that company has posted that open job, then see if it matches a job posting on their actual website. If they don't match, that can be a red flag. Maybe, maybe not. Also, I like to see when a recruiter is hiring for a job on LinkedIn. Sometimes it links the recruiter's name with the position, and then you can network with them. If they ghost you, that's not a good sign. If they don't ghost you, then great, you're networking with somebody. But yeah, there's little things you can do to identify if a company's really interviewing for a position.
Okay. So I had this one dude that said that he interviewed 5 times with the same hiring manager.
You mean like an interview process that was 5 interviews long?
No. He got asked by the recruiter to interview with this same technical dude for 5 times. And the 5th time, the technical guy didn't even know that he's been hired he's been invited the 5th time to interview. And then he just laughed and said, are we still doing this BS bullshit where you going to ask this, and this question? And the guy was like, oh, how do you know what we're going to ask? He's like, I've been here 5 times and you don't even know me.
Well, usually companies pay for software that helps them keep track of job seekers. So I don't know what that company's deal was, but I mean, in the second interview, I would have said, hey, Matt, the interviewer, good to see you again. Remember me? I interviewed for this role 2 weeks ago. I don't know how it would go 5 times.
Yeah.
I've heard some really weird outlier stuff happening lately.
Tell me one.
Well, now you're putting me on the spot and I can't think of it, but I don't know. I've heard that a lot of companies are introducing AI into the mix, which I think that the hiring process should be kept to as humanly as possible without a lot of technology. But there's a company, I think it's called Better Hire, but don't quote me on that. And it's a startup and it's an AI tool that helps recruiters keep track of what's talked about in phone screens, interviews, so that another recruiter can take over the interview process and have all the information. But again, that might screen out some people that might be a great fit for the role, but maybe just aren't communicating their value correctly on their resume and on their application, so they're getting screened out. Stuff like that.
When I look at all these, all these numbers, I feel like we're always tiptoeing around how like, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, it actually is way, way worse. And so then, the government says, oh, we created 280,000 jobs. Then they correct it next month and say, hey, it actually was only 100,000. And people take that at face value. They don't go back and check. And so now I'm like, okay, we're actually at a spot where a lot of people need hiring, right? And not a lot of people need new jobs that got let go. And I feel like nobody's hiring. Do you know any company that is like absorbing a bunch of people and saying, yeah, we're hiring, we're growing, we're expanding?
So what I've learned recently actually is that a lot of startups, and this is just for startups, a lot of startups right now want to hire contractors, not full-time employees, because if they get acquired, they want to be able to show that their numbers on paper for how much their outgoing expenses are as low as possible, so they can get acquired for as little money as possible.
For the most amount of money.
For the most amount of money, but the company that would purchase them and acquire them wants to know they're getting a good deal, and they don't have a ton of overhead. So a lot of startups are hiring contractors, either part-time or like 6-month contracts. So that's one way. But like you said, the government, I don't know. I'm no conspiracy theorist, but I'm not really trusting the numbers that the government's putting out, especially during an election year, because they want to make it seem like things are going great.
The party in power, right?
Yeah, and we've talked to a couple of retired people who think the economy is doing great right now.
Yeah, they're like, and then they're like, "Who are you?" I'm a half retired teacher. I'm like,
right.
Yeah, of course the economy's going great. You're getting your pension, and all you do is play,
tennis all day.
Play tennis all day.
Yeah, I know. But take any numbers that the government is putting out there with a grain of salt, because they're trying to make it look good. And we all know that when you have numbers and data, you can tell whatever story you want, and you can omit certain data to tell a certain story, or you can include numbers that don't tell a full story. So just don't be fooled. And everybody's having a hard time right now. I don't care who you are.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just think it's so crazy when people tell me in the comments that they've been sending out 285 applications. And, I think your and my opinion on sending out, you are like one qualified resume rather than just sending out a bunch of resumes, right?
Yeah. So my advice to these people, if you are somebody who's trying to do more than one application per day, I would stop that. You're doing a numbers game where you're going quantity over quality. Let's flip that around, and I want you to start doing only one application per day, but putting a solid couple hours into creating something extra for that company that can supplement your resume. Whether it's a project portfolio, if you don't know what that is or how to make one, let Rico know and I can send you a tutorial that I made for free. But you need to be sending something like a marketing proposal or something that sets you apart. And it also needs to show that you've done your research about that company you've just applied to, and you've tailored this potential proof document for that company. Like when I make a project portfolio and submit it with an application, the first page of the project portfolio has that company's logo on it, and it says why I'm a great fit for this role at Google or whatever. And so they'll open it up and they'll go, wow, she's not just sending this out to a million companies. She actually spent time learning about us. That'd be my advice.
Yeah, you just got to make sure the job listings, that there's like that they're like actively pursuing that and not just some fake rabbit hole, that it's going to, it's just some black hole that your resume is going to go into and you wasted 3 hours of your time. And then it's like, oh, it's a fake job listing,
Yeah. I mean, don't be too afraid of that. There's not a whole lot you can do to be able to identify if something's fake or not. But I do want to mention one more thing. So on LinkedIn, when you apply for a job, it used to say 100 people have applied to this role. Now it says 100 people have clicked apply. So I'm glad LinkedIn has just decided to make that distinction because, and I found this out from somebody who works at LinkedIn, when you click apply on a LinkedIn job posting, it increases that number. Okay, 100 people, 101 people have clicked apply. But you might click apply and then see that you have to enter in a bunch of information about your experience and you're like, I don't want to do that. Forget about it. It still increases those numbers of who has applied, who has clicked apply. So don't be discouraged by that number. Apply anyways, because a lot of people are seeing that number. Oh, 100 people, 200 people have clicked apply. Then I'm not going to do it. Don't be discouraged by that number. It's lower than you think. And if you can stand out and create some sort of supplemental document, you have a hot chance of getting an interview.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
Thanks. I'm also glad that you're home. Did you guys like his videos from Switzerland? Because I missed him terribly.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're back.
Yeah. So this was it for this video. I appreciate it. Go like and follow her on LinkedIn or on Instagram or wherever.
Are you going to tell him my name?
It's Allie. I already had it in there.
Okay.
I already had it in there. So yeah, this was it for this video. Let me know what you think about this. Is this all true nonsense? Let me know in the comments, because I do respond to most people. And yeah, please like and subscribe to this channel if you like it. And yeah, follow us on LinkedIn, and I will see you in the next one.